Okay, so welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm talking about why I love the direction fashion YouTubers going. So let's get straight into it. So if you guys don't know, I've actually been on YouTube for 5 years. I had a channel before I made the Fashion Archive, and on that channel I used to make fashion content. I made a video that was like fashion history of Gucci, and I talked about the fashion history from like Tom Ford to Frida Giannini to Alessandro Michele. Some good videos. I made a video on the history of Acne Studios. So over the years I had some good videos, but the problem with those videos was they were quite basic in my opinion. They were quite, if you just did a minimal research on those brands, you could probably find out that information. I thought I wasn't really adding value. And the reason I made those videos was because when I was on YouTube 5 years ago, no one was making content that was analytical or talked about runway shows deeper than just looking at a look and calling it trash or good. So there was no example for me to see that there was an audience that actually wanted to view analytical runway or analytical fashion history videos. So because of that, I thought the only way to, I guess, build a following or to get people to watch those type of videos would be to make videos that were kind of crossover videos. So someone who isn't interested in fashion, they know what Gucci is, so they're like, okay, it's a fashion history video about Gucci, let me watch it, and then they'll be interested. And I feel like I was kind of undermining the interest and intelligence of like my audience. So after 2 years, I just like deleted that channel and I rebranded, so to speak, when I made the Fashion Archive 3 years ago. And with the Fashion Archive, the whole point was not to undermine my audiences, and just the people that want to find it will find it, and if they don't, then they don't. There have been amazing people who have gone on YouTube. So there's hautelemode. Hautelemode, he's a student at FIT. I'm not sure if he still studies there or if he's done, but I think he's still a student at FIT. He makes analytical runway videos, fashion history videos, and now he reviews red carpet shows. The good thing about hautelemode is, and I know a lot of people don't agree with the way he delivers his opinions, but ultimately, the people that make content about red carpet shows never provided any context or any real value. They just look at what the people wear and say, that's garbage, that's good, without any prior knowledge to any fashion history or references. So it's good to have someone who has some sort of fashion pedigree and fashion knowledge talking about these things, as opposed to people that just think luxury fashion is like one big joke. So that was really good. And then obviously the Casual by Reggie Casual came, and that's amazing because I always wanted to know a lot more about Japanese fashion, but there was not really a Japanese person that would tell us that, because all the good Japanese content creators at the time all spoke in Japanese. So Reggie Casual kind of filled that gap, where now we have someone who speaks English but also speaks Japanese and is immersed in the Japanese culture and the fashion scene, so they could basically educate the West about everything that's going on in Japan. And then of course, the missing link, which was Bliss Foster. And the good thing about Bliss Foster, I'd say Bliss Foster has the most analytical videos on YouTube, definitely. And then another thing is we have people like Keezy, because I think a lot of how I see fashion basically is no style unless someone just dresses really, really bad. You can't just say that person dresses like trash, because there's so many different styles. Like high-end fashion, luxury fashion, and if you dress avant-garde, avant-garde isn't necessarily better than streetwear. It's just a different style. But dressing like a teddy boy, that's a different style to dressing like someone who's influenced by the punk rock movement. It doesn't mean that teddy boy style is trash or punk rock style is trash. So you have to realize that they're just different styles, there's different subcultures, there's different types of fashion. And with streetwear and street culture, a lot of high-end fashion gets influenced by what people wear on the street. I mean, Demna Gvasalia, I mean, I could go on. So I think why people look down on streetwear is because a lot of streetwear YouTubers or streetwear influencers, to me, are not streetwear heads. They're not interested in streetwear, they're interested in hype. Because people that are interested in streetwear know the history of streetwear. They're obsessive about it. The sneakerheads I've met in London, they buy stuff like Saucony's, they buy Adidas Specials. These are like the historical sneakers that started everything and changed the game. They don't get hyped over like Off-White and Nike collab. That's people that do that, they're hype beasts. I wouldn't even say hype beasts, but they're just interested in the hype side of things, and they call themselves streetwear heads, but they're not really. So the first time I've actually seen a streetwear head actually go on YouTube is Keezy TV, and he actually cares about street culture and street fashion and has the context of what people are wearing throughout the years. And he even has a documentary on the Bay Area and what has influenced the different styles in the Bay Area over the years. He's also had videos about the fashion history of Evisu and stuff like that. And I really love the direction that YouTube is going, because like I said, when I first started, I didn't see, there was just no audience really. I couldn't visually see an audience for people being interested in fashion in a non-surface level way. So I just love all the content creators we have out right now. And it's crazy because it's almost like, because people say there's too many YouTubers now, which doesn't make sense, because all the OG YouTubers like Avery has stopped posting, Fernando has stopped posting, Jacob Wallace barely posts, Magnus Running stopped posting. So really, they've just been replaced by Keezy, Bliss Foster, hautelemode, and me. There's not actually like that much more. I don't know, people are just weird. But I think what's really important to note, and what I love about the YouTubers now that are bringing real value to the table, people like Bliss Foster, people like hautelemode, is credentials. Because it's also good to note that these aren't just people just talking and not doing their research properly. Bliss Foster has a degree in literature, so he obviously is someone that has been privy to doing a lot of research. He breaks down words, and that's why he's able to break down and analyze these runway shows the way he does. hautelemode, of course, goes to FIT. I'm about to go study fashion journalism at CSM, and I've worked in fashion for the past 4 years at different places like Stella McCartney, Deploy London, Polognes. So also, we're not just, it's not like a fad, it's not a joke. We're not like just some random people who got up from our sleep and decided we're gonna start educating people about fashion. So it's just amazing, man. And I like, because all these guys that are making content now are really passionate about fashion. It's not people that just do this stuff for the money and all that sort of stuff, which I just never really liked. And another thing that I like about YouTube now is, when I first got on YouTube, I don't think there was much of a community. Everyone didn't talk to each other the way it happens now. Like now, I have live streams, like there's live streams every day, and everyone's in the live streams. I have a Discord, Bliss Foster has a Discord where people just talk to each other. People ask questions, everyone's willing to give information. Because I feel like in the past, there's kind of this weird thing where people are like, they would keep information they have because they want to seem like I'm the guy who's knowledgeable, and if you want information, come to me, rather than share the knowledge. And that's a weird mentality that I think people in the past used to have. But yeah, even though I love the direction that fashion YouTube is going, fashion YouTube has a long way to go in terms of like financial opportunities, because the people that, no, I don't want to say they don't deserve it, because they do, because they've garnered a big following. But people like Emma Chamberlain, her audience is like 10-year-olds who aren't interested in fashion. So when Louis Vuitton fly her out to Paris and she makes a mockery of it, it just perpetuates the fact that luxury fashion is just one big joke, and it's just rich people deceiving themselves and buying expensive clothes. And I don't know that, and just this is just off my experience working in the industry, analytically I can't even see how that works. Yes, you're going to get views, but 10-year-olds are not going to buy a Louis Vuitton jacket, and parents are definitely not going to buy their 10-year-old kids Louis Vuitton jackets. So that's just definitely not translating into sales, whereas I feel like there'll be more value getting someone like hautelemode or Bliss Foster, flying them out to Paris Fashion Week and going into reviewing all these shows. Because if I think of someone like Bliss Foster, if Dior or Louis Vuitton fly someone like Bliss Foster out to Paris to review the show, to just film the experience, every single one of his followers would be deeply interested in everything that happened. him going to the show and experiencing the show and getting the show notes, access to the show notes, that, and him like Bliss Foster going to showrooms, for example, that will literally make his like reviews, that would help his reviews so much, because he actually got the feeling of the show, and he could actually cut away to like his own footage at the show, which would just be crazy. And I don't know how long it's going to take for brands to realize this, but it's just, I think the issue is, and this is once again my experience working in the industry, the people that make decisions on like what influencers a major brand uses, or kind of like what the marketing money is going to be spent on, are like 60-year-old men who don't watch YouTube, so there's no way they would ever know who is the real tastemaker, who are the tastemakers, who are the game changers on YouTube. It's impossible for them to know, because they're 60, they don't watch YouTube. So they're just gonna get whoever kind of has made one kind of a fashion video and who has 1 million followers, and that doesn't even work. I've literally done something, and when I was working for a brand, where we paid someone who had 1 million followers a certain amount, and then we paid someone who had 50k followers at the time way less than the person who had 1 million followers. But the person who had 50,000 had a hyper like fashion focused following, whereas the person who was 1 million was just like a general influencer, like a lifestyle kind of influencer. And we made more sales from the 50k influencer than the person who had 1 million. And it's just like, brands, man, they just don't get it. And I hope that will change. I hope that hopefully some brand will watch this video and actually learn how it's done. And yeah, I consider those guys to be journalists. I mean, it's gonna get to the point where fashion YouTube, now people in the industry still look down upon it, but they're gonna have to realize that the information, the level of knowledge that these YouTubers have is high. And like I said, they're going to realize that this isn't a fad. Like 10 years down the line, Bliss Foster is going to be a very established fashion journalist. I would have graduated from CSM with a fashion journalism degree, and I'll probably be a journalist in industry as well as making YouTube videos. hautelemode would have graduated from FIT as well as making YouTube videos. So it's just like, yeah, the level of knowledge that fashion YouTubers have these days is really, really high, and I'm a big fan of it. And I just like the direction that YouTube is going. But I'd like to also see it show up in the financial opportunities, especially for people like Bliss Foster, hautelemode, Reggie Casual, Keezy, guys like that. And Bliss Foster, if you're watching this, when I go to CSM, I'm going to need to collaborate with you on a lot of projects. So I'll definitely slide in your DMs whenever this pandemic is over. But comment down below what you guys think about how fashion YouTube is like changing the sphere of fashion, and comment down below what you think about like financial opportunities, because yeah, that thing just really irks me, especially because I've been in offices where the analytics of paying someone just based on followers doesn't even work. But yeah, I'm done ranting.